All right, guys, it looks like we are live. Welcome back to Roxham TV and also welcome back to Jam Crypto. Well, today is a nice day because Bitcoin is on a major rally. We broke through major resistance at 117K. Right now, we are sitting at 118.5K. So that's really good. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the rally because, okay, yesterday I didn't do a live stream because I was having my day off, but when I was basically on my holiday, I was like checking the phone. I was like, oh, wow, Bitcoin is making history again. However, I do want to take a step back because if you guys are a 4-year cycle believer, then we know how it goes. Like we know there's a saying, say that okay, the top is going to be in on 6th of October. So 6th of October, which means it's just going to be in a few days. So looking at this rally, some people are saying like, is Bitcoin trying to catch up to that on basically on 6th of October? Are we going to catch up to that new all-time high? That's why we're seeing such a huge rally. So we're going to look into that. We're also going to look into some on-chain. Okay, long story short, I don't think the top is in, and I don't think that we're gonna reach the cycle top straight on 6th of October. We're gonna dive into the details. Of course, we're gonna look at some news as well. We know Tether, the biggest stable coin in the whole world, they are buying $1 billion worth of BTC. So maybe that's also one of the reasons why we have seen such a bullish catalyst, such a bullish run for BTC price. So without further ado, we're gonna dive into the chart. Let's hop on to the hourly chart to start the show first. All right, so on the hourly chart, we saw this nice little pump. Basically, okay, Bitcoin was trading sideways for 2 or close to 3 days, just bouncing around at 108 and 110. Like people were saying, okay, people, there's like so much FUD on Twitter when Bitcoin dropped to this level. And then some of them are saying, okay, the cycle top is already in. But look at that, like after consolidating, we are on a rally. So we pumped like, okay, 10% in a matter of 3 days. Well, less than 4 days. So three and 12 hours later, we pumped 9%. 9.2%, and then Bitcoin reached 119K. So what's going on? Well, what's really interesting is that, okay, if you catch our live stream, you know that I was talking about the RSI quite a little bit. And I was saying that, okay, there is this like, basically the RSI was looking a little bit overheated, so we are meant to have a tiny correction, which we did. Like I just love how it works. Like there's like let me zoom closer. There is this a nice little correction, a 2% correction in 8 hours, and that really scared the living shit of some people. This is a really healthy move. Like we have to reset the RSI. The RSI pumped to like 83, like 83 or close to 84. So we are meant to have this healthy correction. After this, like after 8 hours of like consecutive 8 hours of correction, we finally reach a reset on the RSI, and after that is a nice little rally. So I'm liking what I see on the hourly, and what I like the most is that we broke this like 117K, which is a range. Like if you catch our live stream, you know I talk about 117K being a major critical level. The reason why, like the picture would get more comprehensive if we go to the daily chart. So on the daily chart, if we zoom out, we were essentially like trading inside this rectangle that I drew. So between 108K to 117K. Like if we did not close above that, basically it's just all noise. Maybe I should draw like an actual rectangle so it's easier to see the consolidation period. So if we we're just like, okay, chopping around this region, maybe, okay, down, up, then this is not like basically it's a fake out. But what we saw here is that entering October, so towards the end of September and entering October, like you can never bet against the narrative of October. Every single time in October, we're seeing a nice little rally. So October, here we have 12 months, and only 2 months out of 12 months, we end up getting a negative number. Most often than not, October will always arrive. And this time we are arriving like sooner compared to last year, because last year it was a little bit far. People were saying, okay, October is no longer the case, but look at this, like it's a nice little rally. This like daily candle, we pump more than 4%, so 4.3% just yesterday. So let's see if we manage to close about 117k. Like we closed about we closed about 117k, just one candle though. What I want to see is that if we manage to close another daily candle above 117k, this is really important. Like I don't mind Bitcoin having a retest, like go back to 117 to test it as a level of support. As long as we don't close below this, then we are good. Like things are in control. So 117k is the ultimate bull. If we manage to get to, if we manage to test or even like stay above that, then I do think that 123 and 124, like we will get that in no time. The reason why I will say this is, let me pull up the fiat VP. This is the volume indicator that I like to use a lot. So let me remove the line so it's easier to read. So the reason why 117, like I keep on talking about 117, if you guys catch my live stream, then you know. Like if we close about 117, we are at 118. Like what I mean, essentially between here, so 120 to 124, if we hop over and look at the volume here, there isn't much volume backing it. That means like we don't have much resistance around this like 119.8 till all-time high. So 123 or 124. Like there isn't much resistance blocking us. If we, however, get more volume around here, that means it takes more momentum to reach new resistance. But the good thing is, since there isn't much volume around here, like it shouldn't take Bitcoin that much time just to get to the previous all-time high of 123 or 124. So that's one thing I'm looking at. And this actually aligns with the October narrative. Like we don't need much bullish momentum because October is already really bullish. However, on the other hand, if we lose the 117k, like of course still on the table, right? Nothing is certain. Then we just essentially go back to the consolidation period. So you remember the rectangle that I drew, just like go back and chop around. Another boring one, but like looks like things in control. I would like to see the daily candle being closed today and Bitcoin still manage to stay above 117k. Maybe, somewhere above that is more bullish. But if not, I won't be surprised to see, a retest at 117, and then we go to a higher places. That's for the next few days. Let's also hop onto the weekly chart so we can look at things at a higher time frame. All right, so for the weekly chart, let me close the volume because it's a little bit difficult to read. Like one thing I want to stress about the weekly chart is that Like we always have to wait for weekly candle closes before assuming something is a breakout or breakdown. The reason why I say this is that, okay, we close our weekly candle on Monday, and last week people was basically like shitting the pants, saying that, okay, we dipped to 108, but nothing is certain. Like if we bought that 100, okay, if we bought that, okay, the cycle top is already in. If we did any trading decision, then we essentially just missing this nice little pump. And what happened last week is that just like few days, okay, 1 or 2 days before the weekly candle close, we saw a nice rally for Bitcoin price. So that's really important. That's the tone for the next week. That's why we are seeing this massive candle, this like 5% up candle, which is like we still haven't closed, but it set the right tone for Bitcoin. So all I'm saying is that when we watch the weekly candles, we need to wait for confirmation. We need to wait for the weekly candle to close so that we know for certain is a false breakdown or a false breakout, when to enter basically. All right, so that's for the weekly candle. As for the bull market support band and the 50-week moving average, of course, we have to pull this up as well for the longer time frame analysis. What I like about Bitcoin is that, okay, this year is super interesting. We were just essentially using the bull market support band as basically the floor. We didn't even have to go all the way down to the 50-week moving average. Like, of course, this means a even more joyful rally for Bitcoin's price. Like, even if we go back to the 50-week moving average, it's not the end of the day. It just means, okay, if we do go to 100K as correction, it still takes a little bit of time to slowly grind back up. But what we are seeing here is that Bitcoin is just using the bull market support band. And what it means is that we could go to higher places at a much like quicker pace. That's why I'm so bullish and aligned with the October narratives. So, okay, October so far, of course, we're still on the beginning of October. We're only on the second day of October. But okay, September was very interesting. We had a positive number, so a 5% pump for September. Usually September is an awful month because look at these red, like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 consecutive months we end up with a negative number in September. But okay, the past 3 years, so starting from 2023, things looks like, okay, Bitcoin might not be exactly following the pattern. So hence, are we gonna see the cycle top on exactly 6th of October? I mean, I have my doubt. Don't get me wrong. I still believe that the 4-year cycle is intact, but is it that intact till the point that we're gonna see the cycle top on exactly next weekly candle, like when we close the next weekly candle? Of course, I have my doubt. Like, okay, for Bitcoin to reach the cycle top, like from here, we have to basically pump 5%, 5.4%. This is completely doable for Bitcoin. Like 5% pump is nothing for Bitcoin. But does it mean, okay, once we hit, okay, previous all-time high or even like break above that, I don't know how much further we're going to go. And then we're going to slowly see a bull market, a bear market slowly starting. I really don't see how that would play out. I think the 4-year cycle is still intact, though I don't think it's going to be exactly on 6th of October. I think it kind of stretch out a little bit now that institutions are in. However, my personal perspective is that we're still going to see a cycle top in quarter 4, though I don't think might be like in exactly on 6th of October. And this sort of align with the on-chain analysis that I've got here. So what you're looking here is the investor tool. Like it's basically a very simple metric, but one that investors can keep an eye on over the year. So it plots out Bitcoin's 2-year simple moving average. So here's the red line here. This is just a 2-year simple moving average against the 2-year simple moving average multiplied by 5. So you see the green line above here. So what this chart is showing, okay, historically, Bitcoin has broken through the 2-year, basically the green line here. You see here's the Bitcoin price, and then it went above the green line, right? This is during cycle tops. So during last cycle, so 2021, it found this level to be resistance. Though, like, okay, last year we didn't technically break above that. This is important because you need to take the diminishing returns into account. But what we found in 2021 is that there's still resistance. That's why this tool is still intact, and that's why we are taking reference from this like on-chain analysis. All right, so as the price was crushing through the green line in early cycles and barely reaching it in recent cycles. Okay, currently the green line is at $380,000. So that's insane. Basically, we are saying, okay, if we follow this chart, we are nowhere close to the top. Okay, assuming a similar trajectory where prices does not hit this level and falls even shorter than last cycle's top, we can still project a cycle top much higher than the current price of 118,000. So no, I don't think next week, or well, not really next week, but next few days, we're gonna see a cycle top. So this is basically very bullish, a bullish read for investors. All right, so that's my perspective. Of course, it's not financial advice, but there's no way we are seeing a cycle top. And even if we take into the diminishing account, because this hasn't take into that as consideration, like even if we do that, we are still nowhere close to top. That being said, I still think Q4 we're going to see a cycle top, but maybe not, okay, on 6th of October. Let me know in live chat if you have other theses that you believe. All right, so that's for Bitcoin. And before we move on to the news section, I kind of want to look into MSTL because you know me, I love looking at the 50-week moving average as a longer time frame indicator. And basically, MSTL has been underperforming against BTC. And for quite consecutive weeks, so 4 consecutive weeks, we have been trading below the 50-week moving average. This is not good. This is basically quite bearish for MSTL. So for MSTL to come back, by the way, I'm a holder of MSTL and I've been holding for quite some time, I think like a few years already. So I'm still in profit, but like looking from this chart, there isn't much like bullish catalyst for MSTL. And if you look at the purchase of MSTL for the BTC, the number is getting smaller. Now that is much harder for them to raise funds. So it makes sense that the BTC purchase got smaller. So I would say for MSTL to go back up, Bitcoin has to reach new all-time high, has to really slaughter the charge. Otherwise, the MSTL chart is not looking particularly strong to me. And I do have doubt to see MSTL go back to its previous all-time high this cycle. Like the previous all-time high, it was $542. That was back in November 2024. So I don't have much conviction that MSTI are going to pump 61% in this cycle, but it is what it is. This is just from a technical standpoint. Let me know if you guys hold any MSTR or any Bitcoin proxy per se. All right, so that's for the market analysis. That's for the TA. Let's move on to some big news from the US again. So government shutdown. The US government officially shut down at midnight, 1st of October, and we have basically the government has shut down for 1 day and 4 hours. This is the first shutdown in nearly 7 years, and it's already sending shockwaves across politics and economy and even global markets. So what exactly, like how does this happen? Who's affected and how does that impact you and also your bag, right? Because that's what we care about. That's why we're here doing live stream every single day. All right, so if you didn't catch my previous live stream, here's a brief explanation about a government shutdown because it sounds so scary. What do you mean a whole government would shut down? So think of the government shutdown so think of the US government like a massive company. Every single year, the Congress has to pass a budget to keep it running. If lawmakers can't agree, the company runs out of cash to pay some of their staff and keep all offices open. But essential services like national security, law enforcement, air traffic control, they still operate, but many others stop. This is what a government shutdown. So this shutdown started because Republicans and Democrats, they never see eye to eye and they couldn't agree on the 2025 fiscal budget. The standoff includes disputes over healthcare subsidies for 20 million Americans and $26 billion in frozen funds for Democratic-leaning states. So this is how it happened, basically. Those two parties, they're on a fight again. It's no surprise there, right? But like, how many people were impacted? So who's impacted by this? So actually about 750,000 federal workers were basically forced to do a unpaid leave. Military, FBI, CIA agents, they still work, but without pay, basically. And then what the administration, or even the White House, has been saying to the public. So the White House has said federal worker layoffs are imminent. So very likely this administration, they're going to fire a bunch of people. So that's a big shift. At the moment, there are some public services being affected. So for example, national parks, they're closed. And then there's some loan like FHA or VA loans, they got delayed, of course. And then for example, passport renewals, they were expanded. And then there's some chaos at the airport. So this is what's ongoing right now. Small businesses, especially with federal contracts, are stuck waiting for payments. And then some research are stuck as well. Maybe research at NASA, they were halted. So this is the short-term impact. So in terms of the economic impact, shutdowns usually shave off a little bit of GDP. I mean, it makes sense, right? So here are some numbers that we could look at. So economists estimating that each week of shutdown trims about 0.1% points from the quarterly GDP. So this is how it impacts, but this is more like the short term. And then also consumers might tighten spending, like roughly $30 billion. So roughly $30 billion per month in reduced demand if prolonged. Let's see how long that's gonna last, right? And then here's another estimate. The Congressional Budget Office estimated the 5-week partial government shutdown cost the economy $11 billion. So that's a lot of money. But having a shutdown, who would benefit from this? Because we know there are people, okay, the federal workers are being impacted. They definitely not happy. But who is happy? Guess what? Gold. Gold keeps breaking new all-time high again. So we are sitting at $3,800, close to $3,900. It keeps going up. So has Bitcoin. Well, the reason why we saw this, basically hardcore assets went up. Gold and Bitcoin both went up. Like the thesis behind this is that, okay, they both being treated as safe haven asset. Though Bitcoin, the narratives kind of switch. Sometimes it's being called digital gold. Sometimes it's being called risk on asset. But what we saw in a government shutdown is that gold and Bitcoin like keep doing really well on a major rally. Though Wall Street actually rose slightly today on hopes on a short shutdown. All right, so as for the Fed, like how does this shutdown would affect the economy as a whole or the Fed decision? All right, the Fed relies on government data, for example, jobs data or inflation data or GDP. So with agency closed, those reports aren't being published. That means the Fed is flying blind on future rate cuts. Some Fed members want to cut aggressively after September's slowdown, while others say maybe we should wait a little. But without data, like basically the Fed can't do much because there's no data, there's no guideline. And this also complicates later the debt ceiling negotiation in 2025. But this shutdown, to me, it does feel more like a negotiation card for Donald Trump, much like the tariffs. And this is not the first time we have a government shutdown, and especially during Donald Trump administration, because last time it happened, it was under his term as well. But of course, workers, like federal workers, are being affected. And the White House did warn that layoffs could start. And there is more pain sending to the job market, essentially, because like permanent jobs being reduced. While international-wise, like how other countries are viewing this like government shutdown, basically it looks like a joke because a government shutdown is very exclusive to the US. Like other countries, you don't see such thing. And China is already taking the piss out of the US, saying that it's highlighting the US decline in local media. Of course, like China and US, they never really get along. But why we care is because we are Bitcoin holders and Bitcoin is reaping the benefit from this. Like whenever there's like government unstable, the Bitcoin narrative kind of like flip being called, okay, a digital gold right now. So gold and BTC is like doing well on a major rally. So anyways, government shutdowns are nothing new, but this one feels different because of the job layoff threat, because of the fragile economy, and because of how the world is watching. Whether this time it lasts for days or weeks, the ripple effects will be felt across the US and beyond. So I'll keep monitoring the story and update you guys as the new developments come in. All right, so that's for the shutdown. Let's move on to Tether, so the biggest stablecoin. So Tether just made another massive Bitcoin move. The world's largest stablecoin issuer bought nearly 9,000 BTC, worth about $1 billion, pushing its total Bitcoin reserves over 109,000 BTC, valued at $12 billion. Like, this is one of the biggest single purchase by a corporate entity this year. So let's break it down, what this could mean for both Tether and also BTC price. All right, so what happened is that, okay, if you guys are curious to maybe track Tether, there you go. So here's Tether's address. Literally, you just go to Arkham, then you get all the information you want. So Tether is holding a lot of BTC, and if you track the transaction history, there is, wait, let me zoom. It's difficult to see right here. Like, okay, if you track the transaction history, then you will see there's like a 1 billion, wait, where they go? So there's like a $1 billion flowing into its account. Well, I'm not sure why is it not showing. All right, so here's the 1 billion buy from Tether. So 8.8 thousand BTC being added to Tether's account. Well, this is basically following Tether's 2023 policy to allocate up to 15% of quarterly net profits into BTC. Right now, they are holding 12 billion worth of BTC. So this move positioned Tether alongside major institutional holders like MSTL, basically, but with the added influence of backing the world's dominant stablecoin. And this got me very interested to look at USDT Tether reserve. And well, Tether right now, they have 80% in cash and other 5% in metal. So basically, Tether hold gold, so 5% in gold. And then here we have BTC, so actually more than 5% because this is not updated. So BTC right now is encounter 7 to 8% in Tether's reserve right now. So there are other investments and also there's loan. Like, I find this really interesting, the whole USDT reserve composition. And I do see this is, like, Tether is a major green flag for me, despite the controversy over all these years. Like, Tether is printing money. Is like, for Tether, it feels like money grows on tree. Because like in Q2, Tether is making $4.9 billion in profit. Like, strong profit, of course, allow consistent BTC buys. And Bitcoin and precious metal, in this case is gold, like these type of allocation, they show confidence in hard assets and diversification beyond fiat dollars. This is a different narratives, like a different strategy compared to USDC. Like, okay, Tether dive into BTC, gold, loans, treasuries. Those are high yield, high risk, high reward. While USDC, almost entirely reserve is in US treasuries and cash. So very conservative, lower yield, very safe. But like the gap between USDC and USDT is very significant. Like Tether profits 5 to 8 times higher than USDC due to scale and diversification. And Tether is one of the companies that is generating most profits per employee. Like, look at this number. Like, this is so crazy. This can only happen in crypto. So Tether reported a profit of $14 billion in 2024 with approximately 150 employees, resulting in astonishing profit of around $93 million per employee. $93 million per employee. Like, this will only happen in crypto. Like, Tether used to be the #1 company that is generating so much money per employee, although I think right now it's being that spot is being taken over by Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is generating more than $100 million per employee. This is crazy. And Hyperliquid has only 11 employees. This is beyond TradFi understanding. Like, the whole thing is just so crazy. But okay, we know that when it comes to Tether, there is controversy, especially if you have seen things, especially if you have been around cycles. When it started out, it it was very shady. And people were saying, okay, there might be a risk of depegging. But okay, I kind of want to use today's information and today's reserve to look at Tether in a more like a fair point. Okay, BTC, this is again not updated. So BTC is about 7 to 8% of the reserve. So even if BTC drops 50%, which would make Tether lose $6 billion. Like, remember, Tether is printing so much money. Like a 6 billion loss is nothing. Like Tether could cover a 6 billion loss really easily. And the core redemption are backed by treasuries and cash, not BTC. So that's why I'm not concerned. Like even if BTC dropped a lot, like, okay, for the real risk here is that there might be mass redemption or reserve mismanagement or liquidity crunch, but it's not just like BTC volatility alone. So I would say I'm liking these reserves a lot. Tether used this reserve to maintain one-to-one peg, of course, generate revenue mainly from treasuries, BTC, gold gains, and really build confidence against redemption. And let's not forget, like even during 2022, none of the there wasn't any issue when it comes to Tether redemption, while USDC kind of lost its peg. So that's really interesting. All right, so yeah, here's the impact on BTC. Like since Tether is buying $1 billion, so $1 billion literally just happened yesterday. This is direct buying demand. Historically speaking, Tether's USDT mints and BTC buys kind of correlate each other with short-term Bitcoin rally. So some argue that the reason why we're seeing a nice little pump for BTC price is because of Tether. Well, I don't know. Okay, the analysts suggest this purchase alone could add 0.5 or 1% outward pressure short-term. And in the broader term, I think it's the October trend. I'm very bullish on October. And yeah, here's just the key takeaway. Tether strengthens reserve, boosts confidence, and show profitability. I don't think there's much depeg risk for Tether whatsoever. I mean, not from here moving forward. And in terms of like Tether's size, I do see they have a much broader edge against USDC. Like I'm not very bullish on USDC. I'm actually quite bearish on USDC. Well, Tether, yeah, it's looking good, everything. All right, so that's for the stable coin, the biggest stable coin we have in the space. Let's move on to the next news I want to cover. Like the next one is about an exchange. So this exchange is called Bullish. That's a really nice name, right? So Bullish is one of the most institution-focused players in the space, has just launched spot crypto trading in the US after securing approval from the New York Department of Financial Services. This isn't just another exchange opening its doors. So Bullish is backed by billions. All right, so Bullish, CoinDesk parent company, has launched spot trading in the US after receiving bid license and money transmission license from the NYDFS. The platform has processed over $1.5 trillion in global trading volume and went public on the NYSE in August. So let's break it down, this company and also its background, its history. So basically, this platform, it was launched back in November 2021, targeting institutions with a full reserve model. They did the IPO. They have the ticker BLSH, and it's valued at $13.2 billion on debut. One feature is very interesting to note about this exchange is that they have a hybrid model. So they combine the central limit order book and also AMM for deeper liquidity and tighter spreads. So let's also look at the financials of bullish. Let us zoom closer, as we always like to look at the financials on Yahoo Finance. All right, so for quarter two, so here, quarter two, they have $58 billion in digital asset sales. And then as for net income, they have 107, close to $108 million net income. As for adjusted revenue is 57 million. And for EBIT, it's interesting here, like this quarter turned positive, while like the previous 2 quarters, it was negative. So that's another green flag. We like to see a positive number when it comes to the EBIT. And also, this is just the income statement. Let's also hop onto the balance sheet. All right, so the balance sheet is looking strong as well, with strong reserves and also the BTC holdings. So this company overall is okay. It's looking healthy. I like the key features like the hybrid liquidity model. So the central order book and also AMM. And another features is that they have zero maker fees for institutions. They are full reserve custody and also the security integration with BitGo. So they do have the some edge against other exchanges. Like when it comes to exchanges, like especially in the US, people like to compare with Coinbase, compare with Kraken. So I do want to talk a little bit more about the competitive landscape. So Coinbase, they dominate in retail, they dominate in ETFs. They have like a huge valuation, $130 billion valuation, versus Bullish, they only have $13 billion. So that's for Coinbase. As for Kraken, they have similar spot market share, whereas Kraken, they're stronger in staking and derivatives, but Bullish, they purely focus on institutions. When I say institutions, I'm saying hedge funds, I'm saying OTC or market makers with that zero fee incentives and custody fast model. So the outlook is that okay, it could be the second largest US institutional exchange by 2027 and encounter 8% that market share. Overall, I'm quite positive about this. They have strong investor backing. They are NYSE listed, so it is adding that legitimacy. They are compliance first. But of course, there's like risk. So like all of this depends on institutional inflows. And they are also competing with Coinbase scale and Kraken's flexibility. My verdict is that definitely bullish. This exchange is here to stay. Like between its IPO, treasury strategy, and regulatory green light, it's building like that staying power as a core piece of US crypto infrastructure. So yeah, I would say the question here maybe for us to think about is that okay, will they carve out their lane alongside Coinbase and Kraken or disrupt the space altogether? I think time will tell. All right, so let's move on to the last piece of news. Circle expends $635 million to tokenize treasury fund on Solana amid this like RWA growth. So this is a big news for the RWA world. Circle USDC has expanded like the RWA USYC to Solana. If you guys don't know USYC, here's the one, basically USDC, but a RWA fashion. So as we know, RWAs are one of the fastest growing crypto sector. And interestingly is that they are building on Solana. Solana is, of course, like low cost and super fast, high speed infrastructure player. So I would say it's an ideal home for the institutional adoption. Let's break it down, like what this USYC is. So this thing, USYC. how the tokenized treasury funds work and why Solana matters so much. Because I do want to talk about Solana a little bit. We are speculating that there might be a Solana ETF coming soon, maybe days away. So if so, we'll be extremely happy. Like Solana holders will be extremely happy. All right, so I have talked about RWA before, but I do want to talk about that like in details today because I see huge potential in this sector. So what this like tokenized treasury fund means. So, okay, US Treasury basically means short-term government bonds, extremely low risk, like a saving account that earn interest basically. So a treasury fund, it means a basket that pulls many of these bonds so investors can buy shares. And when it comes to the tokenization, like they're going to turn those fund shares into digital tokens on blockchain. So each token would means maybe like one share of the fund. You can store it in a wallet, use it in DeFi, or redeem it back to USDC. So think of it like buying a concert ticket online. The token is your ticket, so proof of ownership, while the concert, like in this case, is the yield from treasuries, happens in the background. The main benefit for RWA and why I think there are trillions of dollars being unlocked is that, okay, RWA is 24/7, it's low fees, and you can use that in DeFi collateral. That's why I do think it's going to be one of the biggest sector in crypto use case. And how this fund, like how this USYC work in particular on Solana is that, okay, Circle partners with a regulated money market fund to buy US treasuries. And then Circle gonna issue SPL tokens on Solana. The smart contract gonna handle everything. So when you deposit USDC, you're gonna mint USYC. And if you want to redeem it, it's just like how it works is just vice versa. You redeem USYC, you're going to get your USDC back instantly. Of course, the whole thing is backed 1-to-1, backed by treasuries and being audited regularly. The advantage to do this on Solana is that, of course, it's fast, it's cheap, it's ideal for DeFi integration. So the details when it comes to this kind of stuff, first of all, like this is huge, $635 million, like 635 million market cap. That's the 5th largest tokenized treasury product. This is just like, we talk about BlackRock's Biddle Fund, and BlackRock Biddle's fund is sitting at 2 billion market cap right now. It's still growing quickly. And this come at number 5. So that's really big, like especially when it's being done, like when it's done by Circle. I don't think we could easily ignore this, can we? All right, so that's for the deal. But like I would say the winners of this RWA deal would be, first of all, Chainlink, and second of all, of course, Solana gonna benefit from this. The reason why I'll put Chainlink in there is that, okay, we need a oracle. So tokenized treasury like USYC need oracles for pricing, for verification, for cross-chain data. So Chainlink, they have the proof of reserve and CCIP already basically called to RWAs and TradFi pilots. And then the expansion on Solana may push DeFi integration to use Link Oracle for collateral, for lending, for yield apps. So that's really good. I do think that Link gonna benefit from this long term. Maybe, okay, the price reaction might be not as significant, but I really like what Chainlink has been doing all these years. They are more like slightly grinding, but I don't know why, like in terms of the price reaction, like it's not in the spotlight right now, but I do think Chainlink gonna slowly catch up. As for Solana, I think there's still many X factors for Solana because, okay, USYC expanded on Solana. That is a big plus, a big bullish catalyst. But it's not just this. We have the ETF coming. People were expecting maybe in the first week or second week of October. If so, there are multi-billion dollars inflow. That is multi-billion dollars of money flowing in, like the demand money flowing into Solana. Of course, is much lower liquidity compared to BTC and ETH, but the it's like the I would say the X factor is stronger. And let's not forget, technically speaking, the digital asset treasury, like the DAT narrative, hasn't really started with Solana yet. So I'm seeing huge X factor for Solana. If we do get the Solana ETF approved, maybe, oopsie. So approved maybe this month in October, then I do think Solana gonna break its previous all-time high, like close to $300 in no time. So that's how bullish I am. But like, okay, let's go back to the Circle news. So Circle bringing $635 million tokenized treasury funds to Solana is another sign that RWAs are becoming one of the biggest crypto narratives. It's not just about stablecoins anymore. It's about tokenized yield, TradFi integration, and the next wave of institutional adoption. So keep an eye on Solana DeFi protocols. USYC could quickly become a building block for loans, collateral, and even digital asset treasuries. All right, so that's pretty much all I want to cover in today's live stream. But before I let you go, there's a final call to action. Make sure do follow me on Twitter because I have regular updates. I don't always have the time to do videos. I do Monday to Friday, 4 a.m. Eastern time. But other than that, I usually don't do videos. I'll just like, if there are new updates, I'll just quickly send out a quick tweet on my Twitter to let my community know. So make sure follow me on gemgencrypto_io, and also make sure follow Roxham TV because we have news, we have updates that you don't want to miss. So follow Roxham TV, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So same time tomorrow. Every Monday to Friday, I'm doing a show 4 a.m. Eastern time till 5 a.m. Eastern time. So thank you so much if you guys are watching live. Also, I saw Bam Bam Crypto is watching live again. So thank you so much for your support. And also, I appreciate every single comment on the video. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.